Hello guys! Today I'm here with two wonderful racing helmets, one for the cars and one for the motorbikes, because I wanted to make a special video. First of all, I'm here to showcase you my new graphics for 2021 for the cars, but then I will tell you all the differences between cars racing helmets and motorbike racing helmets. They have some super important differences, which makes it impossible to race on a car with the motorbike helmet, and I would say impossible as well to race on a motorbike with a car helmet. Now, before talking about the differences, guys, here is my wonderful racing helmet. Okay, now before explaining the differences between the two helmets, I just want to tell you what this channel is about. I talk about motorsports, I talk about racing. I'm making an amazing series about my racing with cars. I was actually racing also with bikes, but after my crash I'm not able anymore to ride a bike. So this year you will see on this channel some kind of reality show about my racing. I will race with the legend cars, with the Formula Predators cars, and a third class there you will see some. So if you want to see all these contents, please subscribe to the channel and get notified when I post new videos. So this helmet is an Arai GP6S, which is quite similar to the top class, which is the Arai GP6 PED. We say PED in Italian. And the GP6 PED is the same model as the one they use in Formula 1, which the difference that the one that they use in Formula 1 is full carbon, while this is not carbon. Another thing that I'm super proud of is this. This is the official collaboration with Insta360, which you probably already know from the videos that I've made. And I'm super proud to collaborate with such a big company, because it makes my channel and my racing super professional. And that means that I have the tools like these ones to show you the best possible videos. Also, Insta360 is the company that in all these years always kept improving their products. Now, let's compare motorbike helmet, which is the AGV Pista GP-RR, which is the one that they use in MotoGP and that I use for racing, and the Arai that I have here. Now, these are just two models, but all the things that I'm going to say are true for actually every motorbike and car helmet. The first huge difference, which is visible, not just for you, but also for the rider or driver, is the visor. As you can see on the motorbike, the visor is much bigger than the car. It's like 50% bigger. Why is that? You have to consider one very important thing, that the visor part is the weakest part of the helmet, because there is nothing protecting the face of the driver from the injuries. There is just a tiny visor. So, being it the weakest part of the helmet, the safety requires that it's the tiniest possible. But at the same time, the safety requires that the driver or rider has the widest field of view possible, because you can protect the head of the driver as much as you want, but if it's not able to see where he's going, it might be even more dangerous. So why is it bigger on the motorbikes than on the car? The reason is simple. The driver of the car always keeps the same position. The only movement that he does with the head are these. That means that the field of view might be much smaller. To understand what I mean, just take a look at this photo. This is the Nigel Mansell helmet. Look at how he placed the sponsor on his visor, leaving just a few centimeters for his sight, and he was able to win the races. On the other hand, when you are racing with the motorbike, your head is always in many different positions. When you are inside the bike, you are staying like this, and you need to be able to see up with your eyes. When you stand up, you have to be able to look down to see what's happening. When you're fighting with other riders, you have to be able to see with, in Italian we say with the tail of your eyes. Do you say with the side of your eyes maybe? You have to be able to see with the side of your eyes what's happening behind you. That means that the field of view has to be bigger on the motorbikes. Another big difference is this, which you have on the car helmets and you don't have on the motorbike helmets. What are these? These are the screws where you attach this. I don't know if you have ever seen this. This is the Hans device, which is a super important device capable of saving the driver's life. How does it work? You stick it to the helmet like this. So, the helmet is now attached to the Hans system. How does it work? When you put on the helmet, the Hans system stays on your collarbones and chest like this, and then you wear the helmet. What happens when you sit on the car and they fasten your 5-point seat belts? The upper seat belts stick the Hans to your body. What happens? That if you crash frontally against the wall or something pretty hard, your head is the only mobile part of your body, because the rest of your body is strongly attached to the seat. So what happens? If the G-forces are too high, the head moves ahead and your spine might crack and you die instantly. So this system prevents your head from moving forward. This is the system that if existed 30 years ago, probably Ratzenberger would be still alive. That's a very sad story. One important thing to notice is that this system works only if the seat belts are keeping this attached to your body, because if they're not, you understand what happens. Now, this system doesn't exist on the bike. Why? Because if you crash, you are not attached to the bike. So there is not the risk that your body stands still while your head moves forward. The third big difference, which is visible, and then we'll talk about the non-visible differences, is the aerodynamic. As you can see, it's quite different. Why? Because of the same reason that I explained a few minutes ago. On the car, you always keep the same position, while on the motorbike, your head moves in many different ways. That means that you have to develop an aerodynamic capable of making your head as lightweight as possible. For example, with this AGV Pista GPR-R at 180 km an hour, which is the average speed you have on track, your head weighs 0 kilograms. The aerodynamic has been developed to make your head as lightweight as possible. This is not necessary on the car, where you're always staying like this. Also, the aerodynamic of this AGV helmet, as you remember from a videos that I made in the past, is meant to be one with the racing suit, because this spoiler connects virtually to the hull of the suit, making it perfect aerodynamically. Also, the lower part of the helmet is different, because the lower part of the helmet in the car receives almost no air, because in the GT cars you don't receive air, while on the Formula car this part usually is below the cockpit. While on the motorbike this part is always exposed to the air, so the aerodynamic development is quite different, as you can see. Now, one difference which is not visible is the inside of the car racing helmets are fireproof, while with the motorbike helmets this is not necessary. Why is the car racing equipment fireproof while the motorbike equipment not? Because on the motorbikes you can eventually have fire as well. The reason is that in 99.999% of time you crash with the motorbike, you separate from the motorbike, while every time you crash with the car, you are stuck with the car. You need time to remove your seatbelts and leave the car. That means if the bike sets on fire, no problem, because you probably are far away from the bike, and if you're not, you can walk away. While on the car, you need time to get away from the crash. That's why everything has to be fireproof, even the inside of the helmet. Another difference is that this in the Arai car racing helmet is made of Kevlar and not in nylon. And another difference, which I don't want to go in that because it's quite boring, is the homologation. The motorbike helmets follow different regulations for the homologations than the car helmets. I just want to spend a few words about the Snell. The Snell homologation is a special kind of homologation because this car helmet has the FIA 8859 homologation and the Snell 2020. The Snell is a second homologation which provides some kind of excellence certifications. It makes more strict tests, and if the helmet is able to pass those tests, it means it's much better. Now, I just want to say a couple words about this helmet, especially about the inside. Now, the outside of helmet has the purpose to distribute the impact, while the inner part of the helmet, which is soft, is responsible of absorbing the impact and protecting the head and the brain. the human skull has different densities in the various area, because what did the evolution realize? It realized that it's much more likely to impact the head in the front than on the side, because maybe you're running and you hit a wall or a tree. So the front part of the skull is much more denser than the side part of the skull. So the inside part of the helmet, made of polystyrene, follows the same density as the human skull. One last thing that I want to say about this helmet is that in Formula 1 they have a special panel, which is a carbon panel that they put here in the visor, which is meant to protect more the head of the driver. For example, if you remember the Felipe Massa incident where he was hit by a spring in the head, after that incident, the carbon panel became mandatory. One thing that I want to say about Arai is that they already have been using that panel since 30 years before the crash. So even in the past, Arai paid huge attention about the driver safety by using things that was even not mandatory, but were safer. Now, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed knowing the differences about cars and motorbikes helmet. And if you like this video, please subscribe and get ready for the upcoming racing videos because they are going to be amazing. Bye bye.